by saying the reality good manners is only for the adults in this way, and we understand how to learn but how do we teach our children to begin to understand themselves?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I believe it was Hazrat Ali Karmallah Wajhahu said, taking knowledge from the Prophet ﷺ. Knowledge, which includes good manners, okay, on the young, it is like writing in stone, on stone. Okay? Once you write it on stone, it stays forever, correct? But knowledge, when you are really old, is like writing on water. You understand? You cannot write on water, it just goes. So which means what now? When they are young, understand that when children they are young, their fitrah, it is Islam. You see, Islam believes not in original sin. We believe in original innocence. Originally, we are all innocent. The baby that comes out, it is innocent. The baby that comes up until it reaches maturity, it is not responsible for anything. Right or wrong, it is not responsible. The parents carry it. Is another thing they're not teaching these days. The parents carry, which means that it is a responsibility of the parents. They, until they reach a certain age, everything that they are doing, they are not responsible. They are in the same category as certain saints, same category as certain ones who are ma'asum, meaning they are free from mistakes. The little baby, the little toddler, is free from mistakes. You understand? So now we start on that baseline. Everyone, it is the little children, they are innocent, which means that whatever that you are teaching them about the good manners in Islam, they understand that more better than if you teach them bad manners. Bad manners, you have to learn. Good manners, you just realize. Say, oh, this is nice, and you're going to do it. When you are old, yes, you're going to know about yourself, but that's a different knowledge. When they are young, whatever that you're going to write there, it is going to stay. When they are young, it is not their responsibility. It is the parents' responsibility. When they are young, they have to get what they call it in the animal world, imprinted. When they are young, you have to, whatever that you are going to write is going to stay with them. Make sure you write good things. Make sure you write from the words of Allah, from the words of the Prophet, from the words of the awliya Allah. Don't make others to write it to. Especially because a small window period too. After that, the whole world is going to come into their lives. We're not saying, oh, children, you should keep them away from this world, away from every influence all their lives. No. There's a certain time where it is good to be with them. After that, it is good for them to learn something a little bit. After that, it is good for them to even leave the home, not even to be in contact so much. Because now they reach the age of maturity, they have to know, they have to find out, they have to discover themselves after you have taught them. So now it is a time for that, for the imprinting. How are you going to do it now? That is the question. How are you going to do it? How do most people do it? What they learn from the parents, correct? I remember my mother doing this to me, I'm going to do it to you. I remember my father doing this to me, I'm going to do it to you. Good or bad? Whether you do it consciously or subconsciously. Or I see my friends do this to their kids, I'm going to do it. So you're taking every influence that is around you. Now, as believers, our first influence, it must be the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Those who are teaching us how to approach that must be the first influence. Because in reality, it is the first influence. The first influence, it is Allah. when the Muslim child is born, the first words that he hears has to be the azan, has to be the qamat, has to be declaring Allah's greatness, has to be declaring the shahadat, has to be declaring the Prophet's love and his messengership. It must be about prayer and success in that prayer. So spiritually, you're already making the connection then when they are born. You must do that until they reach to a certain age. Why I'm saying it's a small window period. If I'm not mistaken, one group of people, the Jesuits, they are understanding education, they are understanding children, they are understanding the importance of time. They are very powerful people in the Vatican. They are responsible for setting up so many schools throughout the whole world, correct? They are understanding that, very good. One of their maxims, one of their sayings is, give me your child for 7 years, for the first 7 years, and you can have him for the rest of his life. But he has already belonged to us. You understand? Give him for the first 7 years, we'll teach him. After that, you can have him for the rest of his life, for the rest of it doesn't matter. He already belongs to us. Now, in that time frame, doesn't matter, 7 years, 16 years for maturity for the boys, 13 years for the girls. It is the parents' responsibility and the whole village, all the relatives, all their friends, it is their responsibility, meaning all the elderly ones. Their responsibility when they see a kid is, we must teach him, we must raise him, we must educate him. Everyone is looking at a kid and saying, now this one, we must give something from us because his time is running out and he has to learn all these good things now. It is not just to look at the kid and to spoil the kid. It is not just to look at the kid and to have authority on the kid. It is not just to look at the kid and to ignore the kid. These days people abuse it, the children, so much. They abuse it ways that we know, ways that we don't know. You think abuse is just to hit them, and no. That is one very bad abuse. We are not condoning that at all. There's another kind of abuse where you're just ignoring them. Another kind of abuse where you're not raising them. Another kind of abuse where you're going to leave them to the care of strangers, that the strangers are not having understanding or love to the children, and it is strangers that are raising them. So the kids, they have to be raised. Parents have to know that. How are you going to know that? If you're spending too much time outside. Now, responsibility of the mother, responsibility of the father is different. Most of the time, the mother is at home. That's the first educator that she has. The father now is coming. The father is also educating, but not in the same way, 100% like that. The parents now have to know that. So now we're talking about a whole lifestyle change. If two people, man and a woman, they get together to get married, to have a romantic life together, if they're not thinking we're going to raise children and we're going to raise the next generation, then they live selfishly. You understand? But man and woman come together, yes, there is a time you feel romantic, Then after that you say, okay, I'm ready to raise a family. Now they enter into a new role. You become now not just a husband, you become a father. You have some heaviness. There's certain things that you have to. Then you're going to look, who has certain heaviness like that, first person you're going to think is your father. That these days, look around, how many fathers that we have that they raised us, correct, in this modern world. So now it's broken. Once you are broken, it's very easy for others to control you. So now we are, alhamdulillah, we are very fortunate because we have a Shaykh. Now we're going to look at that Shaykh now, because he is like our father, he is like our grandfather. He is representing that Prophet. So now you're going to go directly, because your father, your uncle, your male role models, they may not be 100% good. They may not even be 1% good, doing it properly. But now you have a Shaykh, you have an awliya in front of you, and you look and you see how he is doing it, and what is his knowledge. His knowledge is not just from his father, grandfather, no, his knowledge is from his Shaykh. Meaning his knowledge about how to raise kids is according to the knowledge of the prophets and the knowledge of the awliya. It may be different, of course it has to be different. It may be unusual, it must be unusual. But they are taking it very pure. And their intention is to raise children that are going to be believers, going to be good ones to themselves and to others. So you have to raise them. You have to teach them. Not just to spend time, you have to teach them. You have to say this, you have to say this, you have to teach. Not just to hang out to, you have to say. Sometimes, of course, we're not saying everybody has that time, but whatever time that you have sons, you have daughters, you have children, that time, especially when we're growing up, the time that we remember most from our parents, it's not just a good time we buy ice cream and this, no, but when they are teaching us something. It's making, for the little girls, maybe the mother is baking a cake, making some cookies. Feminists not going to like, they say, why are you taking this example? Women are just going to cook, why they cannot fix cars? Don't like it, don't listen. Or the guy is saying fix cars, or fixing, going to the barn, or something. Now you see the father and the son, now there is a bond there. The bond is not just, oh, how are you, baby? How are you buying ice cream? No, the bond is something. Together they're building something. Now imagine if together they're building something for the sake of Allah. How much stronger it's going to be in that time. And when you're with them, yes, you're going to raise them, you're going to teach them, they're going to be close to you, and you're going to say, remember, Allah is watching. The Prophet is watching. Our Shaykh is watching. Alright? Yes. So now that becomes the glue. Certain things may happen, doesn't matter. The glue is still there. Until they come to the age of maturity, then you're not responsible. That time they enter into a different stage. Now they have to know themselves by themselves. You understand? But for now, there's a lot of work to do with the kids. You have to teach them everything. At least make them aware of everything. Open them up to everything that is good, that is coming from Haqq. These days, they're telling the kids to learn everything, open up everything from the batil. Don't worry. This dunya is batil. We're living in this dunya. They have the rest of their life to learn what is batil. There's only a small window period where the spirit is haqq still, because they're still masum. And they're going to understand haqq much quicker than most adults are going to understand. Inshallah, may we raise better generations than us. Fatiha. Amin. Assalamu alaikum.